1474 in Trinidad de Campos. I died in Havana, Cuba in July of 1520.
I was governor of Puerto Rico 1509 and 1512.
My first exploration was in September 1493. I traveled with Christopher Columbus going to the New World.
I went to the New World to populate Puerto Rico and
I wanted to find the Mountain of Youth, and I also wanted to find gold for the Spanish.
I traveled by boat to get to the New World.
My goals were to find gold in the Mountain of Youth.
I ran into the Native Americans and had to fight them on the run.
I discovered Puerto Rico and I was governor 2 times in a row.
That's good.
Hello, my name is Christopher Columbus. I was born in 1451. I am an explorer, navigator, and colonizer. I sailed 4 voyages across the Atlantic Ocean. On my first voyage from Spain, I had intended to go to Japan, but I ended up in the Bahamas. My voyage took me to America. I tried to discover trade routes to the spice trade to Asia. I was funded by the Spanish crown and I was able to bring 3 ships, the Santa Maria, Pinta, and Nina, on our first exploration. While the goals of the crown were to find a new trade routes to Asia, I also saw my role in spreading Christian religion. My obstacles were bad weather, diseases, deaths, illness, hunger, poor maps, and my crew was very frightened. And these are just some of the obstacles that I faced. I accomplished discovering the Americas and spreading Christian religion, and I died in 1506. One day I traded with the Indians and they told me about the cities that flood in the Pacific Ocean they got. With this team, the 2 birds that into Asia. I traveled by road, canoes, horses, and airwalks. My goal was to make a new trading route through the Mississippi River because the Silk Road was closed. My delays were that one ship was stolen by pirates, one ship sank, and another kept circling around a bay near Texas. My accomplishments were I claimed the Mississippi River and Louisiana for France, and I I'm Vasco da Gama. I was born in 1460 in Sines, Portugal. And I died in 1538 and lived for 78 years. My job was working for King Manuel. He also joined the Navy at a young age. I also learned how to navigate in the Navy. When I went on 6 big expeditions and he was successful, when I was a new king came and told him to go back to India. Told me to go back to India. Vasco da Gama went on 6 big expeditions. 4 of them were in Africa and 2 of them were in India. Why did I sail? Because I was sent by King Manuel to make profit. Profit here means to make money, and in King Manuel's mind, it was if I found a trade route, people would take that trade route, and on the way they would stop off at Sines, Portugal, and buy their supplies. Then King Manuel would get richer and richer every day. I traveled by ship, and on land I traveled by my goal was to find a trade route for King Manuel so that we would be happy. I worked on one problem. One problem was I had to force my way into the harbor to trade with the rulers of Spain. My accomplishments: I was the first person to travel from Sines, Portugal, around the rim of Africa, and made it to India twice. Good day, I am Francisco Vasquez de Coronado. I was born in Salamanca, Spain, 1510. I left my home because my parents promised a family fortune to my older brother.
It is I who am Francisco Vasquez de Coronado, the famous explorer. And yes, I was born in Salamanca, but I refused to be without a fortune, so I set out to find my own. When I was 25, I got tired of doing nothing, so I left Spain, my country. I sailed across the wildest seas, fighting demon sea monsters and killing gigantic orca whales for their oil to light my lamp. I like to read. I arrived in dried boots on the beaches of New Spain, which is known as Mexico today. I was assistant to the first viceroy of New Spain, Antonio de Mendoza. Mendoza had to govern in the name of King Charles I. He had to keep the peace. I had to help him.
Between 1536 and 1539, Admiral Mendoza heard stories about the 7 cities of Gola. The 7 cities of Gola, where the streets and houses were made of gold and jewels. He sent me on an expedition to find and claim the wealth of Spain.
Yes, it was true. I wanted the gold. I could taste it. The viceroy paid for me to go. So I went. I took 300 Spanish soldiers and 1,000 tax-funded Indians who swore allegiance to the Spanish crown. Some say they were my slaves. They were helpful, as an example of what we expected Indians to behave like, and I thanked them for it. We took with us many, many herds of cattle so I could eat meat when my tummy grumbled.
We were the first Americans to travel up to Rio Grande. We found many Indian settlements and discovered the Grand Canyon. I led my army into what later become Arizona and New Mexico. In the spring, I led my army south across what is now called Texas. I went to Kansas in search of the Grand Pueblo, a land reported to be rich in gold
and high-ho silver.
And we were the first Europeans to explore all of the southwestern part of the United States.
Ah, yes, the Grand Canyon. I remember it well. It was, how do you say, big. And Indians, well, Well, when they did not cooperate, we made them cooperate. The first tried to ignore my requests were the Zuni Indians. Could they not see my men were starving? What would you have done? We were forced to force our way to their village. Once we had their attention, we read them what is called the Spanish. Would you do me the honors, my brother, of reading the scroll that we read so long ago?
Why, certainly,
Etc., etc.
that you acknowledge the church as the ruler, the superior of the whole world, and the high priest called Pope. And in his name, the King Charles I, our Lord in his peace, our superior, and
etc., etc.
if you do so, you will do well, and that which you are obliged to do. To his highness, and we in their names shall receive you in all thereof in charity, and shall leave you your wives and your children, and your lands free without servitude. But if you do not do this, I can't continue. Please, Father, take over while us.
But if you do not do this, then maliciously make delay in it, I certify you that, with the help of God, we shall powerfully enter your country and shall make war against you in all ways and manners that we can, and shall subject you to the yoke and obedience of the church and of his highness. We shall take you and your wives and your children and shall make slaves of them. We profess that the deaths and losses which shall accrue from this are your fault, and not that of his highness or ours.
Stop. It's too dreadful, and most of the time they didn't even speak English. I reckon.
It's okay, brother. Please, continue our story.
After not finding gold, we discouraged and returned to New Glasgow during the winter of 1541. Admiral Wilson was not happy that we returned without any riches, but he realized that I had. What? Oh, brother, that we have worked very hard. Tell them about our obstacles.
Well, yes. There were many obstacles that occurred during the expedition. There were obstacles such as Indians who refused to bow down to the Spanish king and queen or to follow our Lord when they were commanded. They made us attack them in the name of the king. I was wounded and almost died. There was hunger, sickness, and death, and injuries to face, as well as exhaustion. After facing all of these difficulties and challenges, we returned without gold. They considered our expedition a failure.
Oh, come on, brother. At least Mendoza made us a governor in New Spain. And remember the day we saw our angel again? Our beautiful wife, Crystal? Such lucky guys. Our beautiful wife. And 8 children to take care.
So then, we set out to find fame and fortune,
And to find the mystical cities of hope.
and to build the Spanish Empire for the king and queen. We did not, but
we had an adventure that people still talk about today.
thank you. But sadly, one day, we're traveling back to New Mexico, and we died September 22nd, 1554.